So we have two going on here. So this is the Lexus ES 250 or 350. I'm not sure which one it was. It's a 2018. And this one's 134 refrigerant and it's 500 grams. Pulling a vacuum on it now. We're only down to 270 microns. This is a recovery on a Subaru. And this is a 2019 Accent Premium. So on this Subaru, this is a clutchless compressor. There's no clutch on there. That's a solid drive compressor. There's your pressure control valve right there. This is a dual evaporator system. There's another evaporator in the rear. And you can tell that by the piping off here. So let's follow a little bit of piping. Let's follow the suction line return to the compressor. So I put arrows on here to make things a little more clear for those of you who are not familiar with it. You see those arrows right there? That's the refrigerant flow. So you have the refrigerant coming out of the evaporator. And that's the suction line, that's the cold line. And as you see, that cold line has two other pipes coming out of it right there. But we're gonna keep following it back to the compressor. Now you see that that line steps up and gets thicker. Well, what that thicker line is there's liquid refrigerant flowing just on the inside of that thicker line, but on the outside of the suction line. So one line right there is actually thicker than the other one and it's on the outside. So this liquid refrigerant right here is actually going in this direction, going right to this point, and then coming here. But let's follow, the suction line goes back. We come right here. Let's ignore the liquid line that is going in this direction. That's coming from the condenser. So this line is the liquid line coming from the condenser, but let's keep on with the suction line. The suction line comes all the way back and it's going back to the compressor right here. This is your internal heat exchanger valve, heat exchanger. So what this is taking the liquid refrigerant that is warm, it's above ambient temperature. So let's follow the discharge, high pressure hot gas discharge coming out of the compressor. You see the arrow, it's coming this way. It's going to the condenser. And you can see it enters the condenser right here. Then it makes a pass, and I think a pass, and it comes back again. Where I have that little black mark, there's a little piece of metal, and that means there's a little plate there that separates this piece. This refrigerant under hot gas fills up this header that much, and it takes all these passes going across. Then it drops down, it passes, then it drops down again in a smaller section, and it passes again, and the refrigerant is right here. And what you see is where it connects, let's see if I can get this clear, where the refrigerant comes in, because it's separated. It actually, there's a separator in here. It doesn't go down here. It has to pass through this orifice that they have drilled in here to go to the receiver dryer. And the refrigerant fills up this entire system. Well, it'll be vapor up here. The liquid and the oil will fall down to the bottom. Then down inside here, there's a little screen and a hole. And then the liquid refrigerant that's mixed with oil falls to the very bottom right here. And then from there, the refrigerant passage comes into here, and it'll be just these bottom tubes right here will be all liquid. And it passes in this direction, going over here. And this is where it comes out. It comes over here. There's a little separator where a little metal piece, it's a plate inside there. So refrigerant cannot come down or pass up, it's separated. And that refrigerant comes out right here, and that's liquid tube. And that passes right down here, and it comes up, and this is where we have this arrow right here. Now this, let's say the outside ambient temperature was 80 degrees Fahrenheit. So this liquid, let's say this is 95 degrees Fahrenheit. So this is 95 degrees warm, high pressure liquid at this point right here. Well, now right there, it's going in and it's going to flow around this cold return suction line. So the suction line is cold, this is hot. So the cold is going to absorb the heat energy out of the liquid refrigerant and cool it off. And it's going to make its travel all the way down here, and you got about 2.5 feet of line where liquid hot refrigerant, warm refrigerant, is traveling on the outside of the cold suction line. And as this approaches to its discharge right there, it is now chilled down a few degrees. And this liquid refrigerant is now usually colder than ambient, or at least the same. Its subcooling will rise. Its ability, its energy capability to absorb more heat is now increased, because now it's a subcooled, more subcooled liquid gas that's going to feed to the expansion valve. But if you see right here, and I forgot to put a little arrow right here, it comes this way and it's going to the rear evaporator. So this little T right here is the rear evaporator, right there, going right there. This is the suction line return from the evaporator in the rear. So this suction line right here, this suction right here comes from this expansion valve. This suction like from here comes from another evaporator, another expansion valve in the back of the vehicle. So it makes a trip coming about 12 to 15 feet of line, coming all the way here and going into this T right here and dropping right here, where both of these from rear evaporator and front evaporator join together and make their way all the way back into the compressor again. And that is the refrigerant path of how this one works. So right now I'm doing a recovery, and what you'll look on my, there's a throttle down. So this is the recovery. This at this position right here, if I had it right there, that's wide open. I could pull the refrigerant out as fast as I can. Now I'm only pulling the refrigerant from the vapor side, but I don't want to pull it out fast because I don't want to remove oil. So I come over here and I throttle it all the way down like this, and then I pull it out. And as you'll see, if I move this, you'll see this number move. I almost got it all. So I'm down all the way. It's just taking out a little. It's not going negative. Oh, there it goes. It's starting to go negative. And it's slowly, because I already started taking before I started this video, I got most of the refrigerant out. But you would go right here, and it comes out really slow, so you don't get liquid. And then once you get it almost all the refrigerant out, and you know you have only vapor, you see it's not going positive pressure. Everything is cold. If I had my thermal camera right here, you'd see this is all blue and it would be cold, and it would start getting pink and then red as you get up here, you know, as the temperature changes. But all the refrigerant is out of here now. So now that I have the majority of the refrigerant out of there, I can now start opening it up. And if I had a clear sight glass on here, which I've showed in other videos, or my gauges, and you're looking through it, you would see that there's no refrigerant flow that you could see, because it would only be vapor. There'd be no oil being paired with it. It's really important to be able to throttle your refrigerant when you're recovering, because you do not want to recover oil with liquid refrigerant. And that is it on this one. I got to get onto this and recharge this one now, and we'll get back to here. And remember, a massive benefit having this 3/4 inch hose, silicone vacuum rated hose. This is the 10 CFM field piece VPX7 TruTech tools. Everybody keeps asking me, where do you get your tools? Everything you see here, everything came from TruTech tools, and that has always been my one trusted source for years. So the VP, the S-Man, and this is the 480V, and then these are your thermocouples, and these are your temperature humidity gauges, and these are your pressure transducers, all wireless, that work with the field piece software. So does the field piece scale, can hook up to the software, or you cannot use this and you can hook up directly to the manifold gauges, and you can read your weight on the face of your gauges if you wanted to. All right, I'll be back. Got to fill this one up.